People, welcome to Newspaper Breakdown. It is the 21st of February. I hope we are all fine. We're actually going to start with good news today, so that should be enjoyable, a bit upbeat, happy-go-lucky. Researchers have announced that a stem cell transplant has cured a 53-year-old man of HIV. He is thought to be only the third person to be cured of HIV using this treatment and the fifth person overall to be cured. The patient from Dusseldorf had the transplant to treat leukemia that had developed alongside the HIV. More than 10 years after the transplant and 4 years after ending HIV treatment, the man is in good health. A transplant destroys any unhealthy blood cells and replaces them with healthy blood cells removed from blood or bone marrow. And due to the high risk, it's only the procedure is only carried out within a small framework of treating other life-threatening conditions. So this isn't treatment that is normally done just for HIV, it's for something else. So this was done because of the leukemia and not because of the HIV. It just happens that this stem cell treatment can cure HIV. Experts have suggested that research should continue to help HIV patients overcome infection without the need for this kind of strenuous, intrusive treatment in the future. Good news, isn't it? You may not be aware, but I dislike humanity. I'm not a fan. This is the type of story that gives me nothing but love for humanity. I think this is the best of humanity. The ability to fight disease, to find cures to the uncurable, to fundamentally change the world for the better. I think that is us at our best. Absolutely. Like the vaccine for COVID, the fact that we've got rid of polio for most of the world, although the other side of humanity, the side that I fucking despise, the utter greed, contempt and disgust, the fact that we've eradicated polio for some places but not others. That's the bad side. But the fact that we are able to do something as incredible as to cure HIV is fucking beautiful. There's actually two good stories on the bounce here. Of the 61 companies that entered into a 6-month trial for a 4-day week, 56 have extended the 4-day week and 18 have made it permanent, potentially giving evidence to the solidity of the idea of a 4-day week. Now, Joe Royal, who is the director of the 4-day week campaign, called the trial, which is the largest of its kind, a major breakthrough moment, adding, across a wide variety of sectors, well-being has improved dramatically for staff, and business productivity has either been maintained or improved in nearly every case. One of the firms, which is Revlin Robotics in Sheffield, plan to continue with the approach, hoping that it will help with recruitment in the future. With a 4-day working week, staff still stay on their existing wage. That's very important to know, because when people say, oh, 4-day working week, you don't earn as much, you do. That's kind of the point. Of the around 2,900 employees that took part, 39% said that they were less stressed, 40% were sleeping better, and 54% said it was easier to balance work and home responsibilities. The number of sick days during the trial fell by about 2/3, and 57% fewer staff left than compared to the same time the year before. Tick it all off. Beautiful. I'm an advocate of a 4-day week. I think it's a good idea. I do think that it will help with productivity. What they are doing with a 4-day week is, let's say you move to a 4-day week and you're doing 9 to 5, they will do it 4-day week, you're doing 9 to 6. So you're working slightly longer during the day, during the days, the 4 days that you're there. However, comparatively, you're working less. And you'll have 3 days off. I think with 3 days off, there's an extra help to the economy as well. You potentially will be out more, spend more, be less stressed, everything's better. But of course, there's going to need more evidence before everything's confirmed. There always requires more evidence. And as with all truths and with all evidence, things always changing. Like this next story is, I think, incredibly interesting, but it's a couple of pages long, so it's going to be a fucking trek to get through, but it is very interesting. This is on groundbreaking research on rape convictions. This is by Cheryl Thomas KC, Professor of Judicial Studies at UCL and universally acknowledged to be the UK's leading academic expert in juries. This new groundbreaking research has contradicted widely held assumptions about jury trials, with conviction rates in rape cases increasing from 53% to 75% in the last 15 years. That straight away, that's not something that we hear, is it? We do talk, and it's important to take into account this is convictions, this is not charges. They are two separate things. This is convictions. Researchers were given access to a data set covering more than 5.6 million criminal charges, every charge against every defendant in every Crown Court centre in England and Wales, from the beginning of 2007 to the end of 2021. In all but one of the 15 years, the conviction rates for rape was above 50%, meaning that juries found defendants guilty more times than they were acquitted. Juries deliberated on 68,863 rape charges in that period, just under half of the number that were initially brought. Thomas writes, what is clear from this analysis is that when all rape charges are put to juries to deliberate in England and Wales, juries convict defendants of rape more often than they acquit them. This has been consistently the case for 15 years, and the jury's rape conviction rate is increasing alongside an increase in prosecutions. Thomas was also highly critical of the government's 2021 so-called end-to-end rape review, saying that it focused on limited qualitative research and had an action plan based on what it perceived to be happening in rape cases, not empirical evidence of what actually happens, which is likely to lead to policies that will struggle to be effective. One of the major problems in the world is what we perceive, what we believe. Believe, faith and hope are three damaging words. Facts and evidence is what's important. Our feelings are delightful, wonderful things. That little flutter in your stomach, oh, isn't it nice? But they should not be used to push through policy. It's because it's madness. Empirical evidence should be what happens. The research was commissioned following a petition to Parliament in 2018 claiming that jurors accepted rape myths. So the conviction rate for rape was 21% lower than for other crimes. This may have been something that we had heard. Honestly, there is a good chance that is the type of thing that I would have parroted. I would have seen it because I, like everyone else, believe that we need to do vastly, vastly more to protect women. And one of the problems is that rapists get away with it. And this evidence that has gone through, because the petition didn't hand over any evidence for their claim, but it was taken on, including from people like me who just went, yep, fucking, that's it, that's the truth, that is the truth. Evidence is suggesting that it's not. Once again, this is it's important to not get conviction mixed up with being charged. They are two separate things, and so the evidence on being charged isn't there, so we cannot make an assumption. And if we do make an assumption, I still, even after reading this, I still look at the fact that we need to do vastly more to protect women from a serious sexual assault. And I do believe that the system stops rapists from going all the way to court. It's strange, after reading this, we see how convictions are. I may be wrong. I do not think I am, but but if the evidence comes out that I'm wrong, I'll change my mind in a fucking heartbeat, because that's how we should be. Evidence is important. It does look like the charging has dropped a lot comparative to over the past few years. The conviction rate for rape cases in the last 15 years, though, has been on average 58%. It is vital that these myths are busted when it comes to this particular type of information. Because believing in myths that the jury, that their decisions are based on myths of the woman's always to blame, and if a woman's had sex before, then she's obviously wanting to get raped, and all of this stuff. If those myths for juries continue to be spread around the country, what you have an issue with there is making victims more reticent in coming forward, because if they come forward, they think not only are they going to be put all over the papers, not only is their entire fucking sexual history, the note of their therapist, everything going to be used against them, but in the end, juries just don't convict rapists. And so they're not going to go forward, and justice will not be done. And that is the power of some of these myths. They stop justice from getting done. The research does not look at every other step in the process, from where there are, of course, serious problems. Police, how the media is... how complaints are handled. It doesn't look at all of that. That's going to need separate studies. But what it shows is the importance of evidence. The fact that truth has to prevail. Otherwise, even things we do not think about, like spreading a myth that juries do not believe women in rape cases, that, which is a lie, will stop justice from being done, and potentially from taking a rapist off of the streets. Anyway, lighter news now over in Israel. Parliament has voted to advance two potentially disastrous judicial charges as part of a broader plan by Netanyahu's right-wing, nationalist, apartheid-loving bastard government to rein in the judiciary. The reforms would give the government control of the appointment of judges and bar Israel's top court from striking down the country's quasi-constitutional basic law. The government still needs to win 2 votes for it to become law, although if you win the first one, unless there's going to be drastic changes with people defying Netanyahu, don't really see it happening. Of course, the Israeli government has claimed that the judiciary has used its power that was never formally granted to it to push partisan left-wing agendas. This is the quintessential far-right horseshit that we see corroding sanity on this fucking planet. Opposition, including central bank chiefs and executives from Israel's big tech sector, said that the proposals were a power grab that removes checks on governments, will probably endanger minorities, fester corruption, and undermine the country's economy. So all of the things that the far right are good for. Putin, that's the end of that story. We go to Putin. Putin has defended his invasion of Ukraine by saying that he was forced to protect Russia from Western threats. This is, of course, fundamental bullshit, and is only believed by the dumbest of dumb people, including the likes of Stop the War and Corbyn followers. Final story. Disenfranchisement may play a big part in the next local elections in May, after official figures showed that only 505 over 75s had applied for the free voter identification, and that is in a month since the scheme has started. Fewer than 6% of those seeking documents were under 25, which is also a concern. At the polling stations on the 4th of May, you will have to show your ID or you cannot vote. This is the terrible idea to bring in voting IDs, an even worse idea to do it so badly. As of Sunday, under 21,000 applications had been submitted in total. That is just 1% of the estimated 2 million voters that do not possess the necessary documents already. This comes despite the Electoral Commission running major ad campaigns. The Commission has, though, previously written to the government to say that the timetable for the local elections meant they could not be conducted in a fully secure, accessible and workable way. So that's going to help with the fucking voter IDs, isn't it? You know, I mean, we don't have an issue with voter fraud in this country, but it's nice to make it much harder for people to vote so that we do have a problem with fucking voter fraud going forward. Be dumb. Anyway, be honest, it'll be very interesting to see if I can get that fucking rape conviction story under a minute. We shall see. Oh, this has been fun. I shall talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.